Welcome to Spoken English HQ. Let's practice.
Real conversations for better English.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spoken English HQ podcast. I am Louisana, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host Benjamin. How are you today, Benjamin?
Hi, Louisana. I am doing great, and I have been waiting all week for this topic. You know, we ask our students one simple question all the time. What is your biggest problem with English? And do you know what most of them say?
Oh, I know it by heart. They do not say grammar. They do not say vocabulary. They say, I understand English. I can read it. I can write it. But I am terrified to speak it. Right?
Exactly that. So today we are talking about the fear of speaking. Let's paint the picture for our listeners. I am sure this has happened to you. You are at home, alone, practicing in front of the mirror, and you sound amazing.
Hello. My name is Maria. I love traveling, and I would like to order a coffee, please.
Perfect. Flawless. In the mirror, you are basically a native speaker. Your pronunciation is beautiful, your grammar is clean, and you feel like a movie star. You imagine the real conversation. You imagine the other person smiling, understanding every word and saying, "Wow, your English is wonderful."
Yes, that is the fantasy. But then, reality happens. You walk into a real coffee shop. A real person, a native speaker, looks at you and says, very fast, "Hi, what can I get for you today?" And in that exact second, your brain becomes completely empty. The beautiful sentences disappear. Your heart starts beating fast. Your face feels hot. And the only word that comes out of your mouth is...
Coffee. Yes, coffee. Just one word. Or even worse, you panic completely and you just say, sorry, nothing, thank you, and you run away.
Exactly. And it is funny when we describe it like this, but in that moment, it does not feel funny at all. It feels terrible. And right after that, the dark cloud arrives. The guilt appears.
The guilt, yes. You walk home and you start telling yourself a very negative story. You say, I studied for 5 years, and I cannot even order a coffee. Maybe I will never speak English. Maybe I am just not made for this.
That is such an important point, Benjamin. This is what we call the idealization trap. We imagine a perfect conversation with 0 mistakes, 0 pauses, and perfect pronunciation. We create this massive, unrealistic expectation in our heads. And then, because the real moment is not perfect, we feel like a complete failure. But let me tell you something directly. That perfect conversation does not exist. Not even native speakers have it.
It is so true. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget words. They say and They start a sentence and change it in the middle. Real conversation is messy for everybody. So, if you are listening to us right now and you have felt that hot, heavy panic when someone speaks to you in English, please take a deep breath. Stop blaming yourself. You are not bad at English. You are just scared. And that is a completely normal, completely human feeling.
Exactly, Benjamin. Removing that fear and that guilt is the very first step. Because if every conversation feels like a dangerous test, your brain will always want to escape it. And we want speaking to feel safe and even enjoyable.
That is beautifully said, Louisana. Now, let's look under the hood. Let's talk about the real reason we freeze. Why does our body react like there is real danger when we are only ordering a coffee or saying hello?
Well, here's the key. Your brain does not separate social danger from physical danger. When you speak a new language in front of someone, a small part of your brain thinks people are judging you. It thinks, everybody is watching me. Everybody can hear my mistakes. And that feeling has a specific name.
Let's say it slowly together.
Self-conscious.
Self-conscious. What a perfect B2 level adjective for our listeners to absorb. It means you feel very nervous and worried about what other people think of you. You feel like everyone is watching you and judging you.
That sounds natural. You know, many learners say, I am shy or I am nervous. And that is fine. Those words are correct. But the word self-conscious is much more precise and mature. When you say, I feel self-conscious about my accent, you are describing that exact feeling of imagining everyone is focused on your mistakes.
Exactly. And here is the beautiful secret. Most of the time, it is not true. The other person is not judging you. They are just trying to understand you and continue the conversation. They are thinking about their own day, their own coffee, their own problems.
That is such a freeing idea, Benjamin. We feel self-conscious because we put a giant spotlight on ourselves. We imagine a big audience analyzing every single word. But in reality, that audience does not exist. People are kind, and they are busy with their own lives.
Precisely. So the fear of speaking is not really about your English level. A person with perfect grammar can still freeze, and a person with simple grammar can speak with total confidence. The difference is not skill. The difference is how self-conscious you feel in that moment.
So if the problem is not our English, but our fear of being judged, then the solution is not study more grammar. The solution is to slowly teach our brain that speaking is safe, that a mistake is not a disaster.
That is the whole episode in one sentence, Louisiana. We do not need to remove the mistakes. We need to remove the fear of the mistakes.
I love that, Benjamin. To help our audience really see this concept, let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine that learning English is exactly like learning to swim. Stay with me here.
Okay, I'm listening. Learning to swim. Tell me more.
So imagine a person who really wants to swim, but they are afraid of the water. So what do? They sit at the edge of the pool and they read a big, thick book called How to Swim Perfectly. They study every chapter. They learn the names of every movement for years.
Oh, I see exactly where this is going. They become an expert on paper. They know all the theory, all the rules, all the vocabulary of swimming, but they have never actually touched the water.
Exactly. And one day, a friend asks them, "Hey, can you swim with me?" And the person panics, because in their head, the water is dangerous. They think, what if I look ridiculous? What if I sink? What if everybody laughs? So they stay on the dry edge, safe, but never swimming.
And that is so many English learners. They studied grammar for years. They read, they listen, they fill notebooks with rules, but they never get into the water. They never actually speak. And the truth is, you cannot learn to swim from a book. At some point, you have to get wet.
And here's the most important part. When you finally get into the water, you do not swim perfectly on the first day. You splash. You drink a little water. You move your arms in a strange way. And that is completely fine. That is not failing. That is learning to swim.
That is such a powerful image, Luisana. So in your daily life, when someone invites you into the water, when they start a conversation in English, instead of running away, you can use a simple, honest micro-conversation. Let's show them how it works.
Hi, I heard you are learning English. Would you like to practice with me for a few minutes?
Yes, I would love to. My English is not perfect, but I will do my best. Please be patient with me.
Beautiful! Did you hear that? My English is not perfect, but I will do my best. That single sentence is magic. It is honest, it is relaxed, and it takes away all the pressure. You are telling the other person, I am getting into the water, and that is okay.
Yes, because when you say that out loud, you stop hiding your fear. And the strange thing is, the moment you admit it, the fear gets smaller. Nobody expects a perfect swimmer on the first day. They just want you to jump in and try.
Welcome, everyone, to our favorite part of the episode, the Word Tour section. This is where we take one advanced piece of English vocabulary and turn it into a real tool you can use today. Today, we are highlighting a wonderful, warm B2 level verb that is perfect for the fear of speaking: to embrace.
Oh, to embrace is such a beautiful verb. In a literal sense, it means to hug someone, to hold them close with your arms, with love and acceptance. But in personal development and in daily English, to embrace means to accept something completely and even welcome it, instead of fighting it or hiding from it. You open your arms to it.
Exactly. And this is so powerful for our topic. Most learners try to hide their mistakes. They feel ashamed of them. But what if, instead, you embrace them? Instead of saying, I made a mistake, how embarrassing, you say, I embrace my mistakes, because every mistake is teaching me how to swim.
I love that shift, Luisana. Words really do change our feelings. So, how can our listeners use this verb today without pressure? Here is your micro-action. Forget about speaking perfectly. Instead, tell yourself, today I will embrace one mistake out loud.
Yes, just one. Speak one sentence to a person, or even to your phone, and make a mistake on purpose. And smile. Say it, accept it, and continue. When you embrace one small mistake instead of hiding it, you teach your brain that a mistake is not dangerous.
Absolutely. And once your brain learns that mistakes are safe, the fear starts to melt. You are not trying to be perfect anymore. You are simply embracing the messy, human, beautiful process of speaking. That is how confidence is born.
So let's say it together one more time. To embrace. To embrace my accent. To embrace my mistakes. To embrace the conversation, even when it is not perfect. Now that we understand the science behind the fear and have learned the word embrace, let's talk about 3 practical techniques you can start using this week to build real speaking confidence.
These are not theory, Luisana. These are real strategies used by language learners all over the world who went from complete silence to confident daily conversations. Write these down.
Technique number 1 is called the 10-second rule. When you feel the panic starting, when your brain goes empty, do not run away. Count to 10 silently, take 1 breath, and say the simplest thing you know. Even just, sorry, Can you repeat that, please? That sentence alone proves you are in the conversation.
The 10-second rule is powerful because it breaks the freeze. Your brain is like a computer that crashes under pressure. Those 10 seconds are your restart button. Once you say one sentence, your brain remembers, oh, I can do this. The panic drops immediately.
Technique number 2 is called safe conversations. This means you deliberately start very small, low-pressure conversations in English every day. A simple good morning to a neighbor, a thank you to a cashier, a nice day, isn't it, to a stranger. These tiny moments are your swimming lessons.
Safe conversations work because they remove the stakes. Nobody is grading you. Nobody cares if your grammar is perfect. They just want a pleasant human interaction. And every safe conversation you have tells your brain, speaking is not dangerous. It is actually nice.
And technique number 3 is called record and release. Every day, record yourself speaking in English for just 60 seconds. Talk about anything, your morning, your plans, your opinion on a movie. Then listen back once and delete it. You do not judge it, you just release it.
Record and release teaches you something incredible. Your spoken English sounds much better than you think it does in your head. Most people are shocked when they listen back. They say, wait, that actually sounds okay. That discovery is one of the most powerful confidence builders I know.
So we have 3 tools. The 10-second rule when you freeze, safe conversations for daily practice, and record and release to hear your own real progress. 3 simple actions that together will completely transform how you feel about speaking English. Now it is time for our listener practice drill, the most interactive part of our show. We are going to give you 3 real situations, and your challenge is to respond naturally using the vocabulary and techniques we covered today.
Remember your key tools today. The word self-conscious, the verb to embrace, and your 3 techniques. Use them now. Pause the podcast if you need to think. Speak out loud. That is the whole point.
Situation 1. You are at a company meeting, and your manager asks you to give a brief opinion in English in front of 10 colleagues. You feel completely self-conscious. What do? Pause and say your answer out loud right now.
Here is a natural response. Thank you for asking. I want to be honest. Speaking in front of the group makes me a little self-conscious, but I embrace this opportunity. My opinion is that we should focus on the client experience first. I hope that is helpful.
Did you notice? They used both keywords in one natural response. Self-conscious to name the feeling honestly, and embrace to show confidence and acceptance. That combination is mature, professional, and completely authentic B2 English.
Situation 2. You are on a first date with someone who speaks English natively. They ask you to tell them about yourself. Your mind goes blank. What do you say? Pause and try it out loud.
A great response. Well, I am still learning English, so please be patient with me. I sometimes feel a little self-conscious. But I love music, I enjoy traveling, and I think the best conversations happen when both people are honest. So here I am, embracing the moment.
That response is warm, funny, and completely natural. It turns the vulnerability into charm. And notice how saying, I sometimes feel self-conscious does not make you look weak. It makes you look human and self-aware. That is incredibly attractive in any language.
Situation 3. Our final drill. You are applying for a job, and the interviewer asks, "How would you describe your English level?" This is your moment. Honest, confident, and solution-focused. What do you say?
Here is your model answer. My English is at an intermediate level and I am actively improving. I used to feel very self-conscious about my accent and my mistakes, but I have learned to embrace them as part of the process. I communicate clearly, I listen carefully, and I am not afraid to ask for clarification when needed.
That answer would impress any interviewer, not because it is perfect English, but because it shows emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a growth mindset. Those 3 qualities are worth more than flawless grammar in any professional environment. You know, Benjamin, when you start embracing your mistakes, something deep changes. Speaking English stops being a test that you can pass or fail. It stops being a performance where people give you a score, and it slowly becomes just a normal way of connecting with another human being. It stops being a heavy obligation, a chore, and it becomes part of who you are.
Yes. For so long, you saw yourself as a nervous student who is scared to talk. But every time you embrace one mistake, you change that story. Little by little, you become a person who speaks English. Not perfectly, but bravely. And brave is much more important than perfect.
That is the real transformation, Benjamin. The goal was never 0 mistakes. The goal is to stop being a prisoner of the fear, to get into the water, to order the coffee, even if your voice shakes a little. Because that brave, imperfect sentence is worth more than 1,000 perfect sentences you only said in the mirror.
So, as we close today's episode, we want to leave you with a message of deep self-compassion. If you froze today, if you said, "Coffee, yes, coffee," and ran away, please do not be hard on yourself. That moment of fear is not a failure. It is just proof that you are stepping into the water. Be kind to yourself, smile at your mistakes, and try again tomorrow.
You are so right, Benjamin. If this conversation touched your heart and gave you a little more courage, please do not forget to subscribe to Spoken English HQ Podcast. Give this video a thumbs up and leave us a comment below. We really want to read your stories. What is your biggest fear when you speak English? Tell us, and let's embrace it together.
We cannot wait to read your responses. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. Take care of yourselves, be brave, and remember, you do not have to be perfect. You just have to get into the water.
Have a beautiful week, everyone. Be compassionate with yourself, and see you in our next episode. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.